Thank you. 16, security incidents in city facilities and properties, the 2014 annual summary. Councillor Sato.
Thank you. Yes, I have some questions. If I'm not sure which staff are here.
Yeah, we've got Sam Rogers, our manager of corporate security.
Wonderful. Okay, thanks, Sam. I'll wait until you get down because I'm not sure how well you can hear right there. I'd first of all like to say that it's I'm pleased to see the decrease in the number of incidents and also to see the increase in reporting. I know we've been doing a lot of community outreach in my ward, trying to encourage residents to call in, and most of them didn't even know we had corporate security. When they find out and they're given that, I have a fridge magnet that has all the, if this happens, call here, if this happens, call here. And once they find that they can call corporate security and somebody actually goes out and does something, and there have been some very, very successful apprehensions and bad behavior that has been stopped. So I really appreciate that. Two questions though. The first one is page 5 of the report. The considerations in the SOR decreases. It says that we had a decrease from 1,300 to 1,100 patrols in 2014, 14% decrease due to temporary staff vacancies. I wonder if I could get some clarification on that as to why. I can't recall anything coming to council on that as to the fact that we were going to be reducing the level of service in the patrols and that we weren't filling those positions. I know we've had some senior changes and you are doing a complete review and reorg of the department, but those patrols I think are vital. That I think they're very important. I think the visibility is very important, and I think the results that we have been receiving since we started putting the patrols on and since we increased them. So I was a little disappointed to see that we had reduced. I don't know whether Gary wants to speak to it.
I'll let Sam go into the details, but I should have mentioned just for the community that Sam's new to the organisation.
I know, so I don't want to put him on the spot.
I was going to
This is a 14 report.
Yeah.
I think it's basically just been some recruitment issues that we've had, but Sam can give you, that wasn't intentional reduction, it was through some vacancies, but Sam can speak to that.
Since you weren't here, but...
No, thank you very much. Through the chair, yes, it has been recruitment efforts. So we have had some vacancies that there were some challenges in staffing, but we've now kind of overcome that hump. We've currently got 8 vacancies. So we're at 24 in our mobile security officer force, and 14 on the transit enforcement side. So we have got 8 vacancies. We were down to we were up to 14 vacancies at one point, and that spoke to the reason for the decrease in patrols over the course of a year.
So there's no reduction in the staffing budget in the department, and hopefully you will be able to fill those vacancies and we can get back up. I mean, as the city's growing, this is the type of thing you increase rather than decrease. So thank you. That's a good explanation. With regard to the page 3, under graffiti, I have to say, I mean, we've been working on graffiti plans for eradicating graffiti for at least the last 15 years that we have been really focusing. And we have come a long way from the days when you would drive down any street and you would see graffiti everywhere. And a lot of that, I think, a lot of it is because residents are reporting it more. And secondly, that we're responding faster. And since we brought in, some years ago now, since we brought in our turnaround time, and we also put the onus more heavily on the utilities and Canada Post and the others, and started charging them if they didn't get out there. And that has been a really good response. We've had a really good working relationship. But you referred to the revised graffiti management program that is currently underway. We had initiated a program, and I can't remember what year it was probably at least 2 terms ago, through Safe City Mississauga, where we had brought together all of the agencies, the utilities, the police, corporate security, Safe City, and basically anyone, park staff, that had anything to do with graffiti. And we talked at that time about the central reporting number. And, you know, I see that you are recommending, you know, you have to make it as easy as possible for people to report it. It has to be simple. But, you know, we were talking about that, I would say at least 7, 8 years ago. And is it still the same group? Because I'm not with Safe City anymore, so I've kind of gotten out of that a little bit. But is that group still working on this enforcement program?
Through Madam Chair, I can't speak in detail to the Safe City initiative. What I can speak to is within the city currently, at the last look my staff did at this last year, there's currently 7 different ways somebody can report in an incident. And that obviously creates a very convoluted process of reporting, tracking, and actually, you know, repairing. So I imagine it will only further compound the sort of complexity when you start looking at how we are integrating with Safe City and the other stakeholders in the city.
I guess I don't want to see that work. It was very valuable work, and I'm not sure if any of the staff here were involved in those meetings, but you know, we were moving forward, or the team was moving forward. It was very much of a task force, and they were moving forward towards a central reporting because, you know, they understood that logging, that for someone to report it to the city, and it turns out that it, you know, it's a utility, it has to go through a staff person, then it has to go out to the utility. They take care of it, but where's the reporting structure in there? So this whole program that was being formulated and worked on, a lot of work was done, and bringing all those utilities together, I think, was a really good thing because it was giving them ownership and responsibility. And Peel Regional Police was on the team as well. So, I mean, I know that you're looking at this, and perhaps we can meet at some point and discuss that particular project and get some feedback. I didn't get a chance to get an update from Safe City before today's meeting, but maybe we can get that and see whether the work that has been done can save some time in moving forward.
Yeah, and Madam Chair, through you, we will make sure we dig out that work and make sure we understand the current status. As part of the lean review we're going to do, we would compile all of that, but thank you for drawing that to our attention. We'll make sure that we don't duplicate some of the good work that was done earlier.
Wonderful. And I want to take a minute to thank Raj, and Ursula is here today, and she has raised some concerns about the reporting and some of the banned statistics. And Raj, thank you. You will be meeting with Ursula to go over her concerns and see if you can shed some light on what is happening. And you know, then perhaps if there's anything that needs to come back to council, that can certainly do so. But I think it's a very positive report. You know, we need to keep moving in this direction, and it'll be your guys, your security officers, I want to say, do an absolutely outstanding job. We depend on them so much to be out there, and so do the residents. So thank you.
Councillor Parrish?
Yeah, I was interested in number 3 on page 3, using special graffiti wipes. As a grandmother, we call those wet wipes. Is it anything stronger?
I don't know, try it.
Is it like a special chemical? What is it?
Through the chair, I cannot speak to that, unfortunately, Councillor. Yeah, I imagine it is some special light, but I'd be speculating on the chemical composition.
What it does is it discourages them because they see their artwork gone in a second, so it's no more fun to do it. Under disturbances, I'm really pleased to see the decrease has been partially attributed to the decrease in confrontation between transit operators and unpaying customers. Our operators are our most valuable people they face the public every day. And it should be an unwritten or even a written policy. You don't fight with somebody over a fare. I'm really pleased to see that, because that puts them in pretty serious danger, because sometimes the people that aren't paying can't afford, but also most of the time they're just being obnoxious. So that was really good. What I found hard to understand on page 7 was financial impact not applicable. So your wet wipes are costing more money than getting the sandblasting done. I don't understand how you could have a decrease in all this and not actually save money. That's a hard one.
Through Madam Chair, I bring your attention to page 6, paragraph 2 under our performance metrics program. I think we have a lot of work to do on measuring, first of all, establishing what our performance targets are, measuring that, and really painting the picture of how we are going to deliver the optimal service to our stakeholders. And part of that is certainly going to have a financial bend to it. So while we don't have a great deal of numbers around, those true financial impacts today, that's certainly something we want to be enhancing moving forward.
Thank you. And I'd like to do a shout out to Ursula. She was here when I left 4 years ago. She's still here. She performs a valuable service. She is annoying sometimes to some people, but she does an amazingly good job, and I'm glad to see she hasn't given up. Welcome back to me, and I'm happy to see you here, Ursula.
Councillor Raz?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the report. I'm just curious, being relatively new on council, when security does stop somebody, what kind of powers do they have, and what kind of authority do they use to detain them or call the police? Like, what's the process that they go through if somebody's drunk and disorderly in Celebration Square?
Sure. Through Madam Chair. So our security officers are municipal law enforcement officers. Their powers are through the bylaw. Our model is inform, educate, and enforce as a last resort. So while our officers certainly have the powers of arrest under the bylaw, that's a last resort for us. And any time we're going to start to get into that type of an escalation, that becomes a police matter more often than not. That said, as you can see through the statistics, we do have bans, we do have arrests, all focused on ensuring safety and security of our staff and citizens. So in terms of a process, it's an escalation process. Actually, it's a de-escalation process for an incident on a Celebration Square, for instance, if there's some type of prohibitive activity or disorderliness. Inform them of the bylaw, educate, and as a last resort, enforce.
And I was surprised on the number of people banned. What infraction would they have to have committed to be banned from any of the city properties, and how do you continue to enforce that ban?
Through the chair, very good question. There are a number of reasons for a ban. Typically, we're very difficult to sort of profile or give sort of a general description of what an occurrence might be to warrant that. But suffice it to say, we're talking about repeat offenders. So the inform, educate, de-escalate, carry on with your business isn't proving to be effective, and a ban is imposed. Oftentimes it's around mitigating risk. The individual poses to staff or patrons. Not sure how much detail we want to go into here, but it's considered sort of a last measure, certainly.
Thank you.
Councillor Raz, will you move the report? All those in favor, and welcome to your first City Council meeting.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could just ask, it was remiss of me to mention that you can report graffiti online. It's one of our online services, just for the public that's listening. And secondly, Sam's actually got appointments with you all the first couple of weeks in June to go deeper into any issues you may have in your particular ward.
Thank you. Moving on to number 17.
Driving long nails into coffins. You've been having sleepless nights. You've gone as quiet as a church mouse and checking on your rights. The boss has hung you out to dry, and it looks as though we'll punish the monkey and let the organ grinder go. Talking to a lawyer, are you gonna pretend that you and your employer are still the best of friends? Somebody's gonna take the fall. There's your quid pro quo. Punish the monkey. Punish the monkey, yeah. Punish the monkey and let the organ grinder go on. Here comes a policeman. He won't be sidetracked. He's asking about a smoking gun. He's after the bag. It's a quiet life from here on in. You've dropped your poison cup. The telephone is ringing, but you're not picking up. Time's up, said Lord Flunky, and everybody knows we'll punish the monkey. Punish the monkey, yeah. Punish the monkey. Let the organ grinder go. Punish the monkey. Punish the monkey. Punish the monkey. Let the organ grinder go.